Good morning, Sydney. It is absolutely my pleasure to be here. And I want to say a really big thank you to the Australian Crypto Convention. One thing I love about working in the world of crypto is the travel I get to do in the global role. But this is my first visit to Sydney, which I know is shocking. It will be the first of many, but I want to say thank you so much for enabling this for me. It's been amazing exploring the beautiful city over the last couple of days and meeting with some members of the crypto community here, having some of the best coffee I've ever tasted, and also understanding that every word here, you make things much more productive by shortening every word and finishing it with IE, which I'm going to be taking home with me to make myself more productive. I think we can all agree this has been an extraordinary year for crypto, which I presume is the reason why so many hands of newbies that have joined us this year. We've seen so much momentum, so many milestones. I woke up to about 50 messages this morning from back in Ireland and UAE, where I live now, of people being like, is now when I buy Bitcoin? After they saw all of the mainstream interest. But before we get into today's discussion, which is sharing a little bit about Binance's vision for Australia, I just wanted to introduce myself. So I serve as the Global Chief Marketing Officer of Binance, but what does that actually mean? Well, I'm in the lucky position of driving marketing, growth, operations across our global and local entities, and we operate in over 100 countries. And that involves everything from working with our brand partnerships like Cristiano Ronaldo, Formula One Alpine, The Weeknd, who we work closely with, as well as working on our new product initiatives and how we ensure that we're bringing both the existing community and the new community the best products and services that we can. But the most important part of what I do is really servicing the community. And that's what's really stand out about crypto. And I hope you who are new in the room today and just discovering this wonderful industry really get a flavor of that as you walk around the floor. It's pretty incredible. But really what drew me to the industry, I have a 20-year career or 16-year career before I joined crypto. Joined crypto 4.5 years ago, was this opportunity to redefine finance. And was this opportunity really to not just encourage more financial empowerment, but unlock financial freedom. And I think that's something that Binance and the broader ecosystem players that are here today are really driving forward. And we're so excited that the rest of the world is finally seeing this huge opportunity and what we can do. But let's start with a fun fact. Is this working? Guys, I might need a little help on the presentation. Did I get it? Okay. Sorry, minor interlude. Let's start with a fun fact to kick things off. Did you know that if Binance was a country, it would be the 6th largest in terms of population? We have about 240 million registered users as of last week. That's more than Australia, Canada, and the UK combined. And if we stretch the analogy a little bit, Binance would be a thriving nation, one with a very strong education infrastructure, one with a very strong treasury, and one with a very strong community, and one that has a steadfast focus on compliance and regulation. And that's what really makes Binance special. But what makes us even more special is our ability to think globally and big picture, but act locally. And that's something that I credit the Binance team here with doing so well. If we take a step back, though, as we've discussed so much this morning already, 2024 has really been an extraordinary year for our industry. And for a marketeer, an absolute delight, because we've seen such a focus on this space. We've seen the Ethereum and Bitcoin ETFs, which have captured headlines everywhere. You know, the total market cap of cryptocurrency soared past an incredible 3.1 trillion last week. And I haven't even seen the latest figures as of this morning, but I'm sure it's already up. We've seen blockchain technologies making inroads into every industry, from luxury to fashion to real estate to healthcare. And I'm really excited about what this cycle and this upcycle brings more of. And for those in the industry that have been here a while, I think we all deserve a clap on the back, because it definitely has not been easy. The momentum has been building, the adoption has been accelerating, and the world is finally recognizing that this is a transformative technology. But for those that are newer to the space, there's still a long journey ahead, and we really need you as part of this next stage to ensure that we drive the word of mouth and the continued social momentum about this. But where does Binance fit into this ever-evolving system? And it is ever-evolving. It's probably one of the fastest industries that I've ever personally worked with. Let me break that down a little bit. At Binance, we like to think that we're not just a participant in the crypto revolution, we're really pioneering and driving it. And I stand on the shoulders of giants in my business when I say that. As the world's largest crypto exchange, our goal is simple. We want to make crypto available to everyone, everywhere. But we need to educate people in order to do that. We're active in over 100 countries. As I mentioned earlier, we've been setting the standard in crypto education, working with local bodies to do that, compliance and innovation. And with over 240 million users and more than $100 billion under our care and control, we're here to help people, no matter what stage you are at that journey, confidently navigate this fast-changing world. As I mentioned earlier, we're very committed to regulation and compliance. And we do believe that the future is regulated, and that is necessary in order to create a safe and secure environment for existing users and for those users entering. We're very privileged that we've secured over 20 registrations and licenses globally, including Australia. And that allows us to offer services and products that are tailored for our local audiences. I think one really interesting point is we have over 1 million users on Binance Australia, and 30% of them chose Binance because of our commitment to regulation and our commitment to ensuring that there are future frameworks in place that really support this industry. For us, compliance isn't just about following the rules. It's about making sure our users are safe, secure, and supported. On a global scale, we've taken efforts to strengthen our compliance efforts, from joining the National Cyber Forensics and Training Alliance to launching tools such as the Binance Tax Reporting API. We've actually grown. I have an ongoing joke with my Chief Compliance Officer. I have about 250 people in the marketing and ops team, and he has 1,000. And he just announced yesterday that he's adding another 350 to that team. So that just gives you like an indicator of how seriously we take that. And that's equally as serious and mirrored in the Australian market, where we're working with the regulators and working with them to help shape policies and ensuring that we're protecting users, but also ensuring that we're encouraging innovation, because regulation exists to ensure that we're doing that. It's for the user. Australia was one of Binance's first local registrations, and we achieved the digital currency exchange registration with ASTRAC back in 2020. Since then, we've invested heavily in building out our team on the ground, which is fundamental to the success. We have over 50 people working across marketing, product, institutional, CS, and we're planning on adding more to that group. And those strong foundations have really allowed us cultivate a very strong community here. We're also proud to collaborate with industry leaders here, like the Digital Economy Council of Australia and FinTech Australia. And they're really on the ground here supporting the existing community, but also driving crypto adoption through the workshops, through the education seminars, roundtables, and events that they do. We at Binance also take education seriously. Just last week, or just earlier this week, I was delighted to kick off my stay in Sydney at the Blockies, where we were shortlisted for Education and Excellence in Education Award. And through this initiative, which is a university initiative that we've done, we've been able to connect with over 500 students across 10 universities, where we're planning on doubling that over the next year. We also work to help educate and collaborate actively with law enforcement and those key stakeholders at both the state and federal level. But our main focus is our users. And in Australia, as I mentioned, we're very proud to have 1 million of those and growing. And we really strive to offer them the best experience we can. Firstly, the most important is about the optimal trading experience. And I personally think this is something that is going to be critical, the optimized UX and UI in this next period. We offer the lowest fees, we've got high liquidity, and we also have introduced some of the best safety measures in the marketplace. We complement this, obviously, with local campaigns, promotions, initiatives that resonate with the Australian audience, and we also bring some of our global flair to that. We're double downing on our community here, and both in-person and offline events are really critical for that. So, you know, Liam, who's on our stand, hosts over 100 AMAs a year online to help educate people here in Australia. And then we also have hosted over 25 events, connecting with over 1,000 individuals on the ground here. Last but not least, we have the Binance Academy. Globally, we've educated about 23 million people using the Binance Academy, which is something I would recommend, especially to the newbies in the room. It's an online platform with masterclasses, with playbooks, really deep comprehension on how to navigate this space. And we've also localized that for the Australian market. I think we've had over 126,000 people in Australia participate alone in that. But as exciting as this moment is, we know we are a young industry at the early adoption phase. We're only 15 years old as an industry, and Binance is actually only 7 years old, which is extraordinary when you think about the pace of growth. Tackling the challenges are really what's going to be critical as we look to this period ahead. If we address the elephant in the room, and I know this has been discussed a lot in Australia, the idea of scams, and it's shaped a lot of public perception, and it's something we're really trying to overcome at the moment. But I think we need to take this into perspective. According to Chainalysis, traditional finance scams still make up about 5% of what is scams globally, compared to just 0.35% in crypto. So that's a really important point to remember. And these numbers show that we're on the right track as they're reducing annually. We also need to note that the transparency of our technology is really what allows us to spot those scams faster. But what's really important is that we are bringing out the bad players in this space and focusing on supporting the good players, many of whom are in this room. Next, we know it's a regulatory maze with rules differing wildly. You know, we operate in over 100 countries, and there is such a lack of clarity in so many of those markets on what we need to do. We're hoping that the recent election result in the US will really start providing that regulatory clarity as other organizations and regulators at the government level really start looking to the US to create that clear policy. We also know that there's a big knowledge gap here. Many still misunderstand crypto. They see it through lenses that have been guided by, media clickbait. So one thing is education is going to be core to this next chapter, and ensuring that we keep the community informed with the right information at the right time and meet them at a point in their journey where they're happy. Last but not least, and this is something that's been mentioned already earlier, volatility. That is a part of the traditional finance industry, and it is always going to be a part of the crypto industry. It's part of the beauty of it. So that's why it's so critical for users to do their own research and really start educating themselves on how to navigate this place and this industry in a way that they can unlock their own potential. I think if we address these challenges together, we're going to see a very, very thriving ecosystem, over the coming 2 years and in the next decade. But alongside these challenges, I got to focus. As an Irish person, I'm an optimist. An Irish person abroad, I'm an optimist. There are incredible opportunities, and this is why we're all here today. Firstly, technological advancements. Solutions like Layer 2, cross-chain platforms are making our ecosystem more efficient. And even real-world asset tokenization is redefining value and ownership. And that's going to be a really interesting way for us to integrate more with the Web 2 players and with the traditional finance system. I'm lucky, as I said earlier, to travel a lot in my role. And one of the things I see is the enormous scope of use cases for crypto. Somewhere like Australia, you're very financially literate. There's a lot of opportunity. People are using it for financial empowerment, to save for the house that they aren't able to buy just using traditional means. But if you travel to LATAM, they're using it as a way to hedge against inflation, because or Turkey, which is really where you see those markets really embracing it. We are, while I said earlier we needed more regulatory clarity, we're starting to see the way be paved for that. MiCA, which is due to come into effect at the beginning of January in Europe, is the first regional initiative where there will be regulatory clarity on crypto frameworks and use cases across Europe. And we're hoping that that's going to drive more adoption in other markets globally. Last but not least, I have a lot of friends in TradFi. I used to work in the space, and the institutional interest is surging. Binance is still very committed to retail users. That's our core. And I would argue that's what the crypto industry is still so focused on. But institutional interest and the surge of funds into this space is really allowing us to put a spotlight into this space and ensure that we're capitalizing on the opportunity to grow. Finally, I want to touch on an aspect that sometimes isn't discussed enough at Binance. And often, we really are more than a trading exchange. We're a builder too. We're an ecosystem. So at Binance, our product development is guided by 5 core principles. That's simplicity, trust, transparency, innovation, and community. And these values really shape everything that we do and that we help to deliver. For us, great products aren't just about a new product or being groundbreaking. It's really about being intuitive for the user and being easy to understand, easy to use. And also, most importantly, that they're solving real financial problems and they're meeting users in what can sometimes be a sea of noise. We spend a lot of time listening to feedback. I personally do weekly product workshops with our community to understand what we can do better to feed that back into our product team. We also invite people to give us feedback on our social community. We're really lucky to have a 23 million strong social community across our social and community channels. And we always invite people to share with us what's not working, what's working, and we will respond. One thing that we're really excited by as part of this next chapter of Binance Australia is what we can do more of for the Australian user. And while we have several products that are due to launch in December and early next year, I'm only allowed to tease one of them. We were hoping to be able to tease all of them today, but I'm only allowed to tease one of them. And I can tell you that margin trading is going to be available for Australian users starting as of next week. So what is margin trading? To those that, I hear some shouts, which is good, but to those that don't know, it's a tool that allows you to trade with leverage. So it gives you the ability to increase your market exposure, but with greater capital efficiency. But I do want to emphasize for the newbies in the room that margin trading does come with both opportunities and risks. So we are ensuring that every new user of the product has to pass an onboarding questionnaire to ensure that we are educating people in the right way to use the product. And that is really a big part of what the industry is pushing for now, which is responsible trading, which is going to be really critical, as we enter into the next stage. As I mentioned earlier, though, one of the reasons why I love this industry so much is the community. And there are so many ways to get involved. I was blown away by the flood of people into this event this morning when the doors opened. But there are meetups happening all over the country. And these are amazing ways for you to engage, to educate yourself, and to ask any questions that you really are trying to understand. One area I would say, anyone who is interested in social or in the community channels, we have the Binance Affiliate Program. And that's a program where for you taking on educating your audiences, you can actually start earning revenue. So that's a really simple way to start your journey. We accept everyone from 1,000 1,000 followers up. And it's a way also to access benefits from the Binance ecosystem beyond swag, events, opportunities to engage with our leadership. And I think it's a really good way for the next generation to also get involved in this space. In closing, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for being part of this journey, no matter where you are. You know, I've spent the last 2 years trying to convince my father to come into this space. And finally, last week, he sent me a message saying he's taking financial advice from his daughters. So all of you and your word of mouth is so important to help us bring individuals in. I encourage you to really educate yourself, spend the time on the convention floor today, meet with the different companies, come get some swag at the Binance. I had to do a plug. Come get some swag with Binance, play some games, and really just enjoy everything that this industry is about. Because each of you in this room, we are still in the early adoption phase. We are far off from hitting the billion users that's going to make this mainstream. So you're going to be a critical part of driving this next wave. Thank you so much. I'm off to check if we've hit 100,000 at this moment, but a really big thank you to each and every one of you here.